Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Today I'm here to talk about Ice Like Fire by Raasch, which is a sequel to Snow Like Ashes, the book that I loved dearly and I read in 2015. I've been very excited for the sequel and I put a lot of hopes into it. Sadly, there were a couple of things that disappointed me and that I didn't like at all, and I'm going to discuss it in this video. Obviously, this video is going to be spoiler because I cannot discuss a second book in the series without giving away spoilers. So if you're interested in the series, you can watch my first review of the first book. The half of it is spoiler-free. Of course, I mentioned the moment when I start talking about the plot in detail. Now let's discuss the second book. It took me a while to collect my thoughts together because I was quite a bit bitter about the turn of the events. The first book, Snow Like Ashes, finished with Meira, our protagonist, realizing that she's actually the heir to the throne of Winter and that she's also a conduit that contains the magic of their kingdom. First of all, this book suffers the middle book syndrome. Not a lot of things happen, but there's a lot of world building, which I actually loved, because the world building in this book might have taken a very simple turn, but Raasch turns everything around and every kingdom has its strength and has its weaknesses, pretty much like houses in Harry Potter. Everyone is in a grey area. We're introduced to the new cultures and new ways of living in different kingdoms and to their rulers, who are all quite different and all very interesting, and some of them are not only complex and wonderful but also very likable, such as Ceridwen, and I admire what Raasch did there because she once again introduced a very strong-willed female character whose relationships with Meira develop over the time and they start to be friends. Female friendships is a big buzzword to me, so I actually enjoyed this part a lot. But there were a couple of other things that I didn't like in this book, and those are the things, the absence of which I loved in the first one. For example, the love triangle. If the love triangle didn't exist in the first book, now it is settled and is pretty comfortable in the second one, and I believe it's going to be as well in the third one, which is quite disappointing, to be honest, because love triangles suck. They suck so badly, and especially in this ridiculous and overwritten form. I wasn't big on Meira character in general in the first book, and I didn't care for him much in the second one, obviously, but he had so many point of view chapters that I couldn't just skip him, because otherwise I would be skipping the major parts of the plot. So I had to suffer through it, and I wasn't especially happy with the fact that the relationships in this book were turned around. For example, Theron and Meira in the first book had such a wonderful and healthy relationship, and now in this book, because Theron now is a villain, it was as if everything was forgotten. Theron turned into a whiny bad guy with good intentions. So obviously Raasch had to introduce the romance in some way, and that's why she brings Meira to the first row. That doesn't sit well with me, because the issues that were brought up in the first book were never resolved. For example, I was eternally furious and was never okay with the fact that Meira sold Meira out alongside Sir to be a wife of a prince who might have been abusive and who might have used his power over her. And it seemed that everyone forgot about this in the second book, which is extremely infuriating. To be fair, Meira still juggles her position and she still thinks about things that she has to do while being a queen, and if she is able to do other things that she enjoys, like being a warrior at the same time. But there's also a significant part of the plot that revolves around romance, and in my opinion, unhealthy romance. I wasn't a big fan of that, obviously. Also, Meira's point of view was quite annoying because a couple of things. First of all, he whines about his new position, and obviously he's bitter about the fact that he's now not a prince and he's not inheriting the throne. So he tries to find a new dedication, but at the same time I don't feel like it requires so many bitter thoughts, but you just don't do it. Although they are not very clear, but they're subtextual, and to me they were clear. Another thing is that his mother dies for shock value, so he could be developed as a character. And oh my god, you just have have to know already how much I hate this plot. Basically, it doesn't take a female character to be killed or a male character to be developed, and especially in such sudden and violent manner. I realized that novels have to have tension, and death and injuries are one of the risks that the reader anticipates or is anxious about and should be anxious about. But at the same time, it is such an overused trope and it was done so many times. I just don't believe that it adds anything new. If it was important for her to die, she could have died differently. Such an old trope and such a harmful one. I'm so tired of it, and I had a moment of microaggression when I resented the book and I didn't want to read further. That's all the opinions that I have on Ice Like Fire. I gave it 3 stars, I believe, because I had multiple issues with it, but I decided that I'm going to read the third book in hopes that it's going to improve and get back to the quality of the first novel. Thank you for watching this video. If you read the book and you have opinions, also leave them down below. I hope to see you soon in my next video. Bye!